Hello, students. I want to continue on reading chapter 11 of Magnus Chase and the Gods of Asgard, the Hammer of Thor. Chapter 11. What's a guy got to do to get a standing ovation? Alex didn't look excited about having to dazzle us. She rose, tugging at her sweater vest, then scanned the crowd as if challenging each and every warrior to a duel. Alex, the son of Loki, Helgai began. Daughter, Alex corrected him. Unless I tell you otherwise, it's daughter. Because she's a transgender. She's a creature that goes male, female, and different shapes. She's a shape shifter. She also can turn to animals and different things. At the end of the Thanes table, Jim Bowie coughed into his mead cup. What now? Aaron Ply muttered something in Bowie's ear. They put their heads together. Ply brought out his journalist's notepad and a pen. He seemed to be drawing Bowie a diagram. Hungai's face twitched. As you wish, daughter of Loki. And don't feel obliged to mention my dad, Alex added. I don't like him very much. A ripple of nervous laughter went around the room. Next to Alex, Sam clenched her fist as if warming up her strangling muscles. I doubted she was mad at Alex. Sam didn't like Loki either. But if for some reason the Thanes decided Alex wasn't a worthy choice for Valhalla, Sam would get kicked out of the Valkyries and exiled to Midgard. I knew this because that's what happened when she introduced me. Very well, person who is the child of some parent, Hungai's voice was as dry as Odin's empty eye socket. Let us watch your exploits, courtesy of Valkyrie Vision. These Vikings today and their new-fangled technology. Around the trunk of the tree of the world tree hung holographic screens winked into existence. Footage from Sam's Valkyrie body cam began to play. Sam was an expert in math, especially calculus and aviation, so you'd think she could figure out how to use a camera, but no. She didn't. She always forgot when to turn it on, and even off. Half the time her videos came out sideways because she's clipped the camera on wrong. Sometimes she recorded entire missions where the camera showed nothing but her own nostrils. Tonight, the video quality was pretty good. But Sam had started recording way too early. Timestamp 7:03 that morning. We retreated to a view of her grandparents' living room. A small but tidy space with a low coffee table and two suede sofas. Over the fireplace hung a framed piece of Arabic calligraphy, a swirling gold ink design on a white parchment. Proudly displayed on the mantel underneath her were pictures of Sam as a toddler with a toy plane, as a middle schooler on the soccer field, as a high schooler holding a large trophy. As soon as Sam realized where the video had started, she stiffened a yelp. But there was nothing she could do to stop it. The video panned left to the dining area where three older people sat drinking tea from fancy gold rimmed teacups. One guy I knew, Abdel Fangland, the owner of Fadland Falafel. There is no mistake, his mane of silver hair and that tailored blue business suit. The other two must have been Sam's grandparents. Jib and BB. Jib looked like Santa Claus or Ernest Hemingway, barrel-chested, moon-faced with a snowy beard and lots of smile wrinkles. Though today he was frowning. He wore a gray suit that had probably fit him 20 years and 20 pounds ago. BB wrote an elegant embroidered red and gold dress with a matching skirt. She sat with perfect poise like royalty as she poured tea for her guest, Mr. Fadland. From the angle of the camera, I guess Sam was sitting on the chair between the two sofas. About 10 feet away, in front of the fireplace, Amir Fadlan placed an agitation, running his hands through his thick, slick, dark hair. He looked as dashing as always in his skinny jeans, his white t-shirt, and stylish vest, but his usual easy smile was gone. His expression was anguished, like someone had stomped on his heart. "Sam, I don't understand," he said. "I love you." The entire crowd in the feast hall went, "Ooh." "Shut up," Sam snapped at them, which only made them laugh. I could see that it was taking all her willpower not to cry. The video fast forward, I watched Sam flew to meet me at the thinking cup, then got a message on her phone for the possible code 381. She flew from the coffee shop and sped across the park towards downtown crossing. She spiraled down and floated over a dark, dead-end alley between two dilapidated theaters. I knew exactly where it was, right around the corner from a homeless shelter. Heroin junkies like to shoot up in that alley, which made it a great place to get beaten, robbed, or killed. At the moment Sam arrived, it was also a great place to get attacked by vicious, glowing wolves. Against the back wall, 3 large beasts had cornered a grisly homeless guy. The only thing between him and certain death was a Roach Brothers shopping cart filled with cans for recycling. My dinner sat in my gut. The wolves brought back too many memories of my mother's murder. Even if they hadn't been the size of full-grown horses, I would have known they weren't regular Midgard wolves. Blue fluorescent mist clung to their fur, throwing aqua-like ripples of light across the brick walls. Their faces were too expressive, with human-like eyes and sneering lips. These were the children of Furnace. They paddled back and forth, snarling, sniffing the air, enjoying the scent of fear coming from their prey. "Back!" the old man croaked, jabbing his grocery cart towards the animal. "I told you, I don't want it. I don't believe in it." In the feast hall, the assembled warriors muttered with disapproval. I'd heard stories about some modern demigods, sons and daughters of Norse gods or goddesses, who refused to accept their destiny. They turned their backs on the weirdness of the 9 worlds. Instead of fighting when monsters appeared, they ran and hid. Some decided they were legitimately crazy. They took their meds. They checked themselves into hospitals. Others became alcoholics and junkies, ended up on the streets. This guy must have been one of them. I could feel the pity of disgust in the feast hall. This old man might have spent his whole life running, but now he was trapped. Rather than come to Valhalla as a hero, he would die a coward's death and go into the cold land of Helm. Hell, Hel. The worst fate for any warrior could imagine. Then, at the mouth of the alley, a voice yelled, "Hey!" Alex Farrow had arrived. She stood with her feet planted apart, her fist on her waist like Supergirl. If Supergirl had green hair and sported a pink-green sweater vest, that is. Alex must have been passing by. Maybe she heard the old man shouting or the wolves growling. There was no reason she had to get involved. The wolves weren't focused on their prey. They never would have noticed her. Yet she charged the beasts, morphing as she moved and launching herself into battle as a German Shepherd dog. Despite the size difference, Alex managed to knock the largest wolf, off its feet. She sank her fangs into its neck. The beast withered and snarled, but Alex jumped away before it could bite back. As the wounded wolf staggered, the other two attacked her. As quick as flowing water, Alex changed back to human form. She lashed out with her wire, using it like a whip. With a single flick, one of the wolves lost its head. Wow. Ooh, the audience said with appreciation. Wolves could have, before she could strike again, the other wolf attacked her. The two of them rolled across the alley. Alex changed into a German Shepherd again, clawing, biting, but she was out of her weight class. Turn into something bigger, I found myself muttering before the whatever reason Alex didn't. I always liked dogs more than I liked most people, and definitely more than wolves. She was hard to watch as the wolf tore into the German Shepherd, ripping at Alex's snout and throat, matting her fur with blood. Finally, Alex managed to change forms, shrinking into a lizard and skittering out from under the attackers. She turned human again a few feet away, her clothes in tatters, her face a horror show of slashes and bite marks. Unfortunately, the first wolf had recovered its wits. It howled in rage. The sound of the echo through the alley and ricocheted off the surrounding buildings. I realized it was the same howl I've heard from across town while I fought the goat assassin. I remember that. Together, the two remaining wolves advanced towards Alex, their blue eyes flickering with hatred. Alex fumed with a sweater tied around her waist. One reason she wore it became evident. It concealed a hunting knife at her belt. She drew the weapon, tossed it toward the homeless guy. "Help me," she yelled. "Fight." The blade skirted across the asphalt. The old man backed away, keeping his shopping cart between himself and the battle. The wolves lunged at Alex. Finally, she tried to change into something bigger. Maybe a buffalo or a bear. It was hard to tell, but I guess she didn't have enough strength. She collapsed back into human form, and the wolves tackled her and brought her down. She fought ferociously, wrapping her garrote, that's her wire, around the neck of one wolf, kicking the other, but she was outmatched. She has lost too much blood. She managed to choke the larger wolf. It slumped over, crushing her. The last beast took her by the throat. She wrapped her fingers around its neck, but her eyes were losing focus. Much too late, the old man picked up the knife and edged towards the last wolf. With a horrified shriek, he drove the blade into the wolf's back. The monster fell dead. The old man stepped away from the scene. 3 dead wolves, their fur still glowing in faint clouds of neon blue. Alex Farrow, her final breath rattled in her chest, a pool of blood spreading around her like a halo. The old man dropped the knife and ran away sobbing. The camera zoomed in as Sam descended towards the fallen warrior. Sam reached out. From the broken body of Alex, a shimmering gold spirit floated up, already howling at the unexpected summons. The video went dark. It did not show Alex arguing with Sam, punching her in the eye, or causing chaos when she finally reached Valhalla. Maybe Sam's camera ran out of batteries, or maybe Sam intentionally ended the video there to make Alex look more of a hero. The feast hall was quiet except for the crackling of the Kiki torches. Then the warriors burst into applause. The Thanes rose to their feet. Jim Bowie wiped a tear from his eye. Ernie Ply blew his nose. Even Hungai, who had looked so angry a few minutes ago, openly wept as he clapped for Alex Farrow. Sam looked around, clearly stunned by the reaction. Alex might as well have been a statue. Her eyes stayed fixed on the dark place where the video screen had been, as if she could make her death rewind by sheer force of will. Once the ovation quieted, Hungai raised his goblet. Alex Farrow, you fought against great odds, with no thought of your own safety. To save a weaker man, you offered this man a weapon, a chance to redeem himself in battle and achieve Valhalla. Such bravery and honor in a child of Loki is truly exceptional. Sam looked like she had some choice words to share with Hungai, but was interrupted by another round of applause. It's true, Hungai continued, that we have learned not to judge Loki's children too harshly. Recently, Sam was accused of un-Valkyrie-like behavior, and we forgave her. She again is proof of our wisdom. More applause. The Thanes nodded and patted each other on the backs as if to say, yes, wow, we really are wise and open-minded. We deserve cookies. Not only that, Hungai added, but such heroism from a Arg, A-R-G-R, Arg. She grinned at the other Thanes to share his amazement. I don't even know what to say. Truly, Alex, you have risen above what we would expect from one of your kind. To Alex Farrow, he toasted. To bloody death. Bloody death, the crowd roared back. No one else seemed to notice how tightly Alex was clenching her fists, or the way she glared at the Thanes' table. My guess was that she hadn't appreciated some of the word choices. Hungai didn't bother calling a Vala or seer to read Alex's destiny in the runes like he did when I was first arrived at Valhalla. He must have figured the Thanes already knew that Pharaoh would do great things when all charges to her death at Ragnarok. The warriors kicked into full party mode. They laughed and wrestled and called for more mead. Valkyries buzzed around their grass skirts and leis, filling pitchers as fast as they could. Musicians struck up some Norse dance tune that sounded like a musical death metal performed by Furno Cats. For me, two things dampened the party mood. First, Mallory King turned towards me. You still think Alex is a legitimate warrior? If Loki wants to place an agent in Valhalla, he couldn't have arranged a better introduction. The thought made me feel like I was back at Randolph's boat, being tossed around in 15-foot swells. I wanted to give Alex a benefit of the doubt. Sam had told me it was impossible to cheat your way into Valhalla. Then again, since becoming a warrior, I ate impossible for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The second thing that happened, I caught a flash of movement somewhere above me. I glanced at the ceiling, expecting to see a high-flying Valkyrie or someone of the animals that live in the tree of the world tree. Instead, 100 feet up, almost lost in the gloom, a figure in black reclined in the crook of a branch, slow clapping as he watched our celebration. On his head was a steel helmet with the face mask of a wolf. Before I could say, "Hey, look, there's a goat killer in the tree," I blinked and he was gone. From the spot where he'd been sitting, a single leaf fluttered down and landed in my mead cup. Okay, that is chapter 11, where Alex was introduced into Valhalla, where she is recognized as a hero. But she is a daughter of Loki, which is a concern. All right, take it easy. That was chapter 11.